Okay, we're going to learn a little bit about Vetrix software. The first thing you're going to want to do is load the software, and then we're going to come over here and create a file. This screen here pops up. This is your job, your material that you're going to cut. Let's say I got a piece of scrap out there that's 24 inches by 48. So you type that in, and there's my size scrap piece I got out there. This particular thing here is all about the Z move. How thick is my material? 0.5 if it was a ½ inch. I know my material is 3/16, so I'm just going to leave it at that 1/4 inch. Type that in. This is going to allow our router bit to plunge all the way through the thickness of the material and go down to the bottom of the material without caring about if that is a little bigger or a little smaller. I'm assured that I'm going to go all the way through that material because I set my Z0 at the bottom. If I would have put it up here, then my router bit is only going to measure from here and come down whatever this says. This says it's a 1/4 inch. If I'm 3/8 of an inch, then I'm not going to be able to cut all the way through my material because we're going to stop. So we suggest that you put your, when you're setting up your material, set the Z0 at the bottom of the material, and then you're assured that we're going to cut all the way through it. Okay, this little field here is the X and Y of positioning of where the corner is. As you can see, there's a red dot down here. That would be your X and Y. So when you bring it into the router table, it will also correspond with the X and Y there. You can move this around, but now see your sheet down here. That's your bottom of your X and Y. So when you start cutting a job, it's going to cut in this area. And you want to make sure, that might work in some applications, but for most applications, you're going to leave it down here in the corner. So we're cutting the whole sheet. Your units here of either inches or millimeters, that all depends on what you're used to. So we're going to press OK here. That brings us up to importing our job and then going through some of this stuff to produce our job. However, it's a brand new system. We need to start loading up our tool library. So this button over here allows you to go through a series of other things that we'll be going through. I'm going to press this little pin so this stays in place and doesn't keep bouncing back and forth on me. We need to load our tool library. That is this button right here. You're going to click on that. You're going to select the tools that you want to use in your router table. You need to put them in this library, and this will allow you to set your parameters, your feeds and speeds. Grab your bit and run with it. So the first thing you're going to do, we set these in before. It was on an older table. But when you get Vetrix, you're not going to have any of this. So you're going to come down here to new group, and you're going to create like this group here. So a new group here. We'll call it plastic 3, and then we'll apply. Then we're going to go click on it again, and we're going to add some bits into that group. So we're going to select new, and then we're going to go to tools. We're going to pick out a end mill. Most of the stuff you're going to be cutting is going to be an end mill. If you go to a 3-dimensional cutting, you'll be using a ball nose, and then some carving. You'll do the V bits. But let's just open this one up here as an end mill. When you buy your bits from your bit supplier, they have parameters how fast you can spin the bit. So basically what we're doing here is we're filling in the information. This is an 1/8 inch bit. We can put a little note here. Use to cut quarter-inch plastic. Yeah. Oh, at 18,000 RPM. So you're filling your information. The diameter of the bit is here. We've already got that put in there. Your pass depth. This is all about how deep you want this bit to go. Some people like doing half the diameter of the bit equals the depth I want to cut this. This bit, I know how strong the steel is. It will handle going down the full diameter. So I'm going to leave it at 1/8 of an inch deep cut when I'm moving along in the plastic. Now, if a step over, this is all about, for instance, if you're making a pocket, and when you come up here, you'll be making a pocket. So we'll be doing one pass. We're going to step over a little bit, and we want to overlap. So we're going to use an 80% overlap, and you need a number in here, or else you won't be able to get to the next screen. And so we put a 0.1. You can put 0.01 if you'd like. Okay, so now here's where this is pretty important. This feeds and speeds. This is what when you grab this bit, it's going to look for these parameters, and it's going to go and grab these numbers and spin that spindle at this speed. I know this bit can spin a lot faster, but when I go to run it, I just want to start it going at 16,000. My feed rate is also based on how fast I spin my bit and the chip load that comes out. So if I spin this bit, if I move this bit up to 18,000 RPMs, it's spinning a lot faster. I can move this feed rate a little quicker so that the chips fly out of the trench. And that's where there's a whole different field on feeds and speeds and what these should be set to. But this is a pretty good 18,000 and a feed rate of 100 inches a minute. You'll be okay with that. Plunge rate is about the Z coming down. I can bump that up to 20. So when we come on down into our plastic, we'll be going a little quicker. Your tool number here. This is where the bit sits in the carousel tool changer or inline tool changer, whatever you have. Where you want that. Some people like putting the smaller bits in bit number 1. Some people like putting the most used bit in bit number 1. I got a system, and I like putting it in my system. So everybody's going to create their own little system. But this is where the router is going to grab that tool out of tool number 4, and assuming we have this 1/8 inch bit in tool number 4, we'll be running fine. But that's something that your designer and the router guy have to be on the same page, because when we grab this 1/8 inch bit, we're going to slot number 4, and we're picking that bit out. And we hope that there's a 1/8 inch bit in there. But there's other ways to check it out at the machine. But this is what this system does here. So we're going to press OK, and that saved our tool library. Now, when you go back to this tool library, you're going to have to fill out all your tools that you're going to put in your tool changer, your carousel tool changer, and fill them all out. And this one here is down to number 5, and that's all good and fine. It all depends on how you guys want to set it up. Okay, so that's it for setting up your tool library. I'm going to move to another video and bring in a job and then go ahead and cut the job. But that's your tool library setup.